Did you know that there's a kind of fat inside your body that you should actually love, not hate? White fat is the kind that we really don't like. It's the double chin, the muffin top, the fat on the thighs, the fat in the butt. But there is a kind of fat inside your body. That fat burns calories instead of stores them. We know this from clinical studies. Certain foods can help activate this fat burning and help you reduce your waistline and get rid of visceral fat. The beneficial fat I'm talking about, it's called. So for years, we've been taught to think of fat as an enemy that we want to get rid of. But biologically, different kinds of fat in our body. We've got white fat and we've got brown fat. And we even have something called beige fat. And these colors actually what the kind of fat looks like under the microscope. So let's start with white fat. White fat is a kind that we really don't like. It's the double fat that's under the arm, the muffin top, the fat on the thighs, the fat in the butt. White fat stores energy from the calories that we eat. So when you eat a lot of food, you actually build up storage. It's kind of the fuel tank for our nutrition of what gets stored into white fat. Some white fat is necessary because we want our fuel tanks to be full of fuel it builds up. And when it builds up, it can be a problem. Where is it a real problem for your health? It's actually not something you can see outside. And it's called visceral fat. Visceral fat is a dangerous kind of white fat. Visceral fat's linked to metabolic disease. It's linked to heart disease. And it's even linked to more than 14 different types of cancer. So yes, we do want to reduce excess fat. Brown fat is completely different. Instead of storing energy, calories from the food that we eat, actually burns down energy. It burns down the fuel. It's like turning a burner on the stove top. You turn on the switch, click, click, whoosh, it fires up and it can draw down on that stored energy just like your stove top draws on the gas that's coming from, a storage tank or outside of your house. And as it burns down the fuel, you're actually generating heat and it increases in the body when your brown fat fires up. It's actually turning up your metabolism. And where does it get the energy from? The fuel from the brown fat gets it from, especially the visceral fat. So this is a battle of fat versus fat, brown fat versus white fat. All right? And it actually is fighting the brown fat and is fighting the type of fat that can harm your metabolism. One kind, brown fat, can help your metabolism. The other kind actually harms your metabolism. So you want to actually have and turn on your fat. Now I want to actually go a little bit deeper and let's tell you what's inside the brown fat. Brown fat is not wiggly and jiggly. That's white fat. The stuff under your arm. Brown fat is actually wafer thin and it's not on the surface. You can see it's actually pressed close to your arm muscle. Alright, and it's very, very metabolically active. Located deep inside your body. Where is brown fat located? On both sides of your neck, behind your breastbone, between your shoulder blades, and there's a little bit in your abdomen, your belly. Why is brown fat called brown? Well, because under the microscope it actually looks brown. Brown fat is packed with mitochondria. These are the power packs of all cells. But in brown fat, it's packed. Right? It actually burns down fuel, generates energy, generates heat. So it's got a lot of mitochondria. Well, guess what? The mitochondria, which produce energy in brown fat, they actually contain a lot of iron. So iron will oxidize as a pile of nails that you leave out on your porch over, the weekend. What's going to happen later on is that the nail, they're going to rust and turn brown. It's exactly what happens to the iron, mitochondria, the power packs,
because they're actually burning the fuel.
So that's why brown fat is called brown, because it's got mitochondria with iron that's oxidized. What happens when you activate your brown fat? How does it burn fuel? Well, guess what? When you trigger the brown fat to start drawing down fuel, it's like turning on the gas burner on your range. Click, 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 whoosh. It's pulling in energy, okay? It's taking fuel from the white fat, harmful fat, visceral fat, moving that fuel in and attachables. Well, it's actually using that fuel to fire up the mitochondria. Mitochondria generate energy, and it generates heat from burning down the fuel. Fuel from excess body fat is called thermogenesis. Thermoheat, you're generating heat. Heat production. Let me back up a second. White fat, the wiggly jiggly stuff that you don't want to have, actually stores the fuel, the energy from the calories that we eat.
People think that if their weight isn't changing, nothing is happening with their metabolism, but that's actually not true. And this is where a lot of did. Your body can be getting healthier, reducing harmful fat, and building muscle at the same time, even if the number on the scale stays.
Not all fat is the same. One of the most important types of fat to understand is called visceral fat. Visceral fat surrounds and plays a major role in inflammation, in poor metabolism, and in increasing disease risk. Higher levels of visceral fat are vascular disease, with insulin resistance, and even cancer. And most people have no idea what their visceral fat level actually owns. You can't track visceral fat with a regular weight scale. Two people can weigh exactly the same, but have encounter levels of visceral fat, and therefore very different health outcomes. You can lose weight with significantly reducing your body weight. And that's why I emphasize focusing on your body composition and not just your body weight. This is where the Hume pod comes in, that uses the same bioelectrical immunology that's used in clinical sets with about 98% accuracy. It measures gliers, you step on the pod and you pull the handle. It's that easy. In the HUM app, you can track over phone habits are impacting your health long-term. Because improving your health isn't about guessing. You can track real changes in dot fence. This is the approach that I recommend for people who want a more precise, data-driven approach to improving their metabolic health.